Today, we're diving into a debate that's thousands of years old, but it honestly feels more like a modern day logic puzzle. And this isn't just about some ancient rules, it's a really fascinating case study of what happens when sacred texts bump up against, well, the hard realities of the physical world. So, let's start by picturing the ancient temple in Jerusalem. This was a place where everything was done with incredible precision. Every single action, every ingredient was all part of a very carefully prescribed ritual. You can almost think of it like the highest stakes baking championship you can possibly imagine. Except, this wasn't about winning a prize. It was all about connecting with the divine. And right at the center of this sacred kitchen was one specific ritual. And that is the meal offering. It's a huge part of the temple service, and it's made from really simple stuff, just fine flour and oil. But don't let that simplicity fool you. The process of how you make it is everything, and it actually sparked a massive controversy. Okay, now we're getting to the heart of it. For centuries, some of the greatest minds of the time completely disagreed on what seems like a tiny, tiny detail in this offering, but it's a detail that changes the entire recipe. That's it. That's the whole debate. It all boils down to this one simple question. Do you mix the oil into the raw flour before you bake it, or do you bake the flour into loaves first and then try to mix the oil in? So in one corner, you have a group we call the rabbis. They were adamant you have to mix the oil with the flour before you bake anything. But in the other corner, the great sage Rabbi Yehuda HaNasi insisted that no, the mixing has to happen after the flour has already been baked into loaves. Two brilliant camps with two completely opposite methods. So how do you settle an argument like this? Well, you go to the source code, the ultimate authority, the Torah itself. Both sides were convinced that their method was commanded by Scripture. And believe it or not, they each had a verse to prove they were right. And what's wild is that both arguments are really well grounded in the text. Rabbi Yehuda HaNasi points to a verse in Leviticus that talks about unleavened loaves mixed with oil, which sounds like the mixing happens when they're already loaves. But the rabbis point to a different verse that says the offering should be fine flour mixed with oil, which suggests it happens at the flour stage. The text seems to support both, so how in the world do you resolve that? This is where the whole argument just takes a dramatic turn. The rabbis don't just disagree with Rabbi Yehuda HaNasi's interpretation, they make a much, much bolder claim. They say his method isn't just wrong, it's physically impossible. And that's the core of their comeback. They shift the debate from analyzing texts to practical, real-world science. They just flat out state that you simply cannot do what Rabbi Yehuda HaNasi is suggesting. But why? I mean, it sounds possible, right? You just pour oil on some bread. What's the big deal? This question right here unlocks the entire puzzle. The rabbis aren't speaking in riddles. They're pointing to a very real, very practical problem. So what is it? What makes mixing oil into already baked loaves impossible? The answer isn't buried in some complex theological argument. It's actually in the recipe itself, specifically the amount of oil you're required to use. A quarter of a log. Now, a log was an ancient measure of liquid, and a quarter of one is a really small amount. We're talking not much more than a shot glass. And this tiny bit of oil is supposed to be mixed among several loaves of bread. And all of a sudden, the rabbis' argument just clicks into place. When they said impossible, they weren't exaggerating. They were making a statement of simple physics. This one tiny measurement is what the whole debate really hinges on. I mean, think about it. Try mixing a shot glass of oil into a big bowl of dry flour. Super easy, right? The oil distributes itself pretty evenly. It coats all the little particles before you bake. But now, try taking that same tiny amount of oil and mixing it into, say, 10 dense, solid, already baked loaves. You can't do it. You can't get it to absorb properly. You just end up with a few greasy spots on the outside. That is the impossibility the rabbis were talking about. So now that we've cracked the code, let's look at the two procedures side by side. You'll see how one method completely solves this quarter log problem while the other runs straight into it. First up, the rabbis method. They put the oil in the bowl, add the flour, and then, this is the key, they mix it all together before kneading and baking. By doing this, that tiny quarter log of oil gets perfectly distributed throughout the entire dough right from the start. It's practical, it's elegant, it works. And now, Rabbi Yehuda HaNasi's method. He argues you bake the loaves first,
Then you break them up into pieces, and only then do you add the oil and try to mix it in. So, despite that big logistical challenge, his strict reading of the verse, loaves mixed with oil, convinced him this was the right, even if very difficult way to do it.
So I think the big takeaway here is that sacred law wasn't just some abstract list of rules. It was a dynamic process. It's where interpretations of these ancient texts had to actually work in the real world, with real ingredients and real physical limits. This was a classic clash between the ideal and the possible.
And that really leaves us with a fascinating question to think about. This whole huge debate was unlocked just by understanding a simple measurement. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other ancient laws or rituals that might seem kind of strange to us today are actually rooted in some practical, physical reality that we've just forgotten about over time?